2, 3, ah.
The audio you receive there is very high.
Yeah, okay. We will reduce it here. Yes. 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 Yes.
Yes, anytime is high, you can just come back.
Yes.
You should connect about
Yes. 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 Yes.
Mata. Why? Belajar apa? Ano, ano, alert me when they are set.
Oh, no, we are set.
We are set.
They're just waiting for the time.
All TV stations are ready.
Please let me
Check.
confirm. Start. All the networks are set. Paradise Star, or online.
Are you set? How are you? You set? We can start? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I'd like to welcome the Honorable Minister of Public Service, Honorable Babukar Boy, senior government officials, Permanent Secretary, Public Service, members of the press, members of the public. Thank you for coming to another episode of the Mansa Kunda Ministerial Town Hall. Today is a very important Mansa Kunda Town Hall. We have the Minister of Public Service and his team. I'll give the team the chance to introduce themselves later on during the program to tell us their name, designation, and function as we proceed. The Ministry of Information, Media and Broadcasting Services organizes the Ministerial Mansa Kunda Town Hall every 2 weeks. We invite ministers from different sectors to come and interface with the public to discuss issues concerning that particular ministry. They give the public the opportunity to ask questions and discuss also, give the opportunity to the ministry also to discuss their achievements, their projects, but also their goals for the citizens. This is part of our mandate as a ministry to promote proactive disclosure, to ensure that we give authentic, timely, relevant information to the public. Today is a very interesting one, like I said. The Public Service Ministry is a new ministry. His Excellency the President has a vision to modernize the civil service. And in that vision, he created the particular ministry called the Ministry of Public Service, Administrative Reforms and Delivery, to ensure that the government delivers, all ministries deliver, to align the public service in line with the National Development Agenda, or the URA. Today we have the Minister of Public Service and his team to come and interface with Gambians. As usual, we'll give the Minister 20 minutes to discuss his vision for the public service, his achievements and his goals as well. Then we'll give each of his team 4 minutes to tell us their name, their designation, but also their function. Then we'll open the floor for Q&A as well. Mbadi ngol mbal tentula mbal jela na Mansa Kunda bi arjuma lungo sadara karaba conference center jang kon ka kanya arjuma follow every 2 weeks ngam minister kilin finang akanani banko dingol ka kacha mi alon ka kumata bake minister banko dingol ak mundo ku sifalla munen anganyoti aning ala ferolti pour abala ministry samala nyame aning fanang ay muneke aning fanang alafta ka muneke ana mirol banko dingol fanan si chance do ka minister nyinin ka be mundo ku sifalla aning fanang ay muneke aning banko dingol fanan sila ila wasiyo fanan faye oto Mansa Kunda puramo kumata bake bidu nga luntam bale soto mba kontona mba tentula mba jela mbani mbarala bake ka fa minister Babukar Boy minister mi alon atel marin public service la bi anala mol nata jambi ala timo mo be siri jambi ngalon atemela afango binabe kacala aba falale ala ministre mundo ku sifalla ni obotaji isaji nin karol sekono nasi kacha kon kaka ya minister of information na hajo na doko lon kajo ko banko dingol ni Mansa Kunda filo kana taritima banko dingol be ko Mansa Kunda salon Mansa Kunda be ko banko dingol salon his excellency president ay mbula wala ay wokara fole dinna ko amalla fi filo tara anim banko dingol tema ba banko dingol le Mansa Kunda sindi jang anu president wala ngaliyo be ala miro luolong suta tili wolong kaje ko Mansa Kunda e tama banko dingol le kontan banko e tama do ko ke banko kan wala tena minister kuto de ka fa public service nyalon ka tele marata Mansa Kunda do ko bulu bundal la wala minister Babukar Boy atel marali wala woto be ni wala be kacala kon ka kenya men ron mba afanam binala kacaja ngaminiti mondiala fo banko dingole abi mundo ku sifalla monen ala miroti aning ala nganiyo pour ala ministre bundato no bodaji ani milbe silo kan wol fanansi miniti nani la momo kiliwo kili miniti nani isa foy itul aning ebe mundo ku sifala to fara do ku bunda bulu bunda jumale to ila do ku dulaji no bodaji nang sayin sidanga pa ko di molla momo nyinin karo soto isi nyinin karo ke ministre si ijabi wolon kacati bi kacabe di ala bake ngaje ko nyim ministre kutolong mo jamal malon ko abe keri ne bare ministre man ka kummata bakele fengo fe mialon ko Mansa Kunda do ko lo Mansa Kunda do kulal ila nyanto atel marengal anin kaje ko Mansa Kunda fane tama mokka di len dalal bu baaxa si Mansa Kunda programme di len santa di len gërem wadi gërem ki ngamne tamit mom lañu dalal tay mo suñu ministre bu mag bi moy honorable Babukar Boy ministre mi ngamne mom mo responsible pour public service nak ministre bu bes la pour gis ne nguur nu mo doxé ak ñepp képp kam ya ngi liggéey nguur sa ak sa yelef ñi ñoko amé gis na tamit nguur dox na ñu wara liggéey nañ ñi wara deliver nañ ko ministre bu am solo la president bi his excellence Adama Barrow enem ak pas-pasam ak mebetam moy pour gis ne nguur gi dox doomi rewi contane mota bu réro am digante nguur ak askan bi mu santa ñu ne bu réro am motax mu santa am minister of information ki nga xamne ñoy gis ne lepp lo xamne nguur mu ngi ko doxal askan bi yek ko lepp lo nga xamne askan bi mu ngi ko bëgga mu ngi ko ine te loolu lañu dunda tamit nguur gi yek ko motax ñu isilam programme nga ne moy Mansa Kunda ñaari semaine bu nek ñu isilen ben ministre bo ñoo jakarlo ak askan bi su boba waxtaan gi mëna am loolu motax réro du am parce que waxtaan su amé rek réro du mëna am comme programme bi nak programme bu am solo la di santa president his excellence Adama Barrow si xalaata bu baax bu mu am bu mu ñu santé ñu def programme bi ni di gëremati ministre bi bu baax ak timam ñim andal ñi nga xamne tay dinañ jox kena ku nekk ñenti minute nga wax ñu sa tour ak le liggéey ak sa place bi nga ne mom lañ la dénka ministre bi tan dina ñew ñu jox ko juroom ñaari minute ñaari fukki minute mu wax ñu mom lan la nekkari liggéey lan moy pas-pasam ak enem si li nga xamne mom lañ ko dénka ci ministre bi nga leen public service su lolu wesso nak jo askan wi ñi nga xamne ño fi nekkate ak journaliste yi ñu laaj ko laaj bi nga xamne laaj na am solo konté watam dina ne di leen sante di leen gërem dalal ñëpp nak dalal ministre bi ak timam dalal ñi nga xamne ñoy liggéey nguur moy senior government official ci fi nekkate ak journaliste yi ak képp ko xamne doomi réew mi nga tay nga baye sa dekuwaay nga ñoo fi pour jakarlo ak government bi ngeen mëna waxtaan kon bala ñoo sori naaw ministre honorable Babukar Boy mo ñu waxtaan ak ñun su lolu wesso ñu jox timam bi ñom tam wax ñu ñom ñoy ñan ak lu ñoo liggéey ak luñ leen dénka naka lañ ko saamee lolu wesso nak ñu am question and answer jërëjëf
Honorable Minister of Information, Dr. Ismail Assise, Permanent Secretaries from the Ministry of Public Service. I want to recognize the presence of the Secretary to Cabinet and Head of the Civil Service. Deputy Chief of Staff is on the high table. Senior government officials here present, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, members of the press. I am delighted to be here with you today at this town hall meeting. And first of all, I would like to thank the Ministry of Communication, Media and Broadcasting for initiating this useful forum dubbed Mansa Kunda, which marks a significant progress in the strengthening of democracy and open government in our governance arrangements. As you know, the Ministry of Public Service, Administrative Reforms, Policy Coordination and Delivery was established in 2022 with the mandate to organize government, coordinate and oversee the development, management and administration of policies and systems that drive responsive public service delivery. Therefore, I'm extremely delighted to stand before you today at this critical juncture in our journey towards the structural transformation of the public service, to share with you some of the key reform activities we are engaged in towards the fulfillment of the ministry's mandate. To begin with, I'm happy to inform you that as a ministry and in collaboration with the United Nations Development Programme Office in the Gambia, we have initiated an open government partnership program as a governance instrument to promote transparency, accountability and participation of citizenry to strengthen governance and service delivery for inclusive growth and development. This creates fora through which government ministries appear in the media and hold face-to-face meetings to share with the public some of the work they do and receive feedback from them. This is currently ongoing with support from the development partners, but the ministry intends to continue with it using local resources after the end of the current funding cycle. In 2018, the government sought to renew its reform agenda through the National Development Plan 2018 to 2022 and the Civil Service Reform Program 2018 to 2027, which all articulated a vision for a world-class public service delivering government policies and programs with professionalism and excellence. This vision was further reinforced with the transformation of the Policy Analysis Unit under the Office of the President into the Department of Strategy, Policy and Delivery in 2019 to coordinate government policies. PMO and DSPD were merged in 2022 to form the Ministry of Public Service, Administrative Reforms, Policy Coordination and Delivery, MOPS, to lead the management organization of government administration. The creation of the ministry was a strategic response to the recognition that more targeted leadership was necessary to drive and sustain public service reforms. The ministry was tasked with overseeing the modernization of public service management, ensuring the effective implementation of policy reforms, and enhancing the overall efficiency of government operations. The recovery-focused National Development Plan 2023 to 2027 builds on these efforts by positioning the Ministry of Public Service to lead the creation of an efficient, accountable, and results-oriented public service through the harmonization of policy formulation, implementation, and evaluation frameworks, and attract and retain skilled personnel and promote meritocracy, ethical conduct, transparency, and accountability in the public service. Our ministry's vision is not merely an ambition, but a necessity. We are committed to ensuring that the public service becomes a pillar of national development, responsive to the evolving needs of the citizenry. To achieve this, our strategic plan is anchored on 3 key pillars. The first one is administrative reforms, second, strategy and policy coordination, and the third one, performance management and delivery. These pillars are designed to support our overarching goal of enhancing efficiency, effectiveness, and accountability within the public sector, and also to enhance professionalism, improved quality of service delivery, and client satisfaction. In this regard, the policy goals of the ministry being pursued in each of these pillars will be dilated shortly. The first one, administrative reform pillar. It aims to attract, retain, and motivate optimal number of qualified and skilled personnel in the public service. And here I want to emphasize the word optimal. That's the number needed to do the work. To reinforce meritocracy, due process, and professionalism in public service administration and personnel management. The third one is to achieve optimal organization and staffing of the public sector for improved public service delivery. And the fourth one is to establish and strengthen records management structures and systems for effective and efficient service delivery. The second pillar, which is strategy and policy coordination pillar. It aims to maintain the highest standards in public service or public policy development and coordination at all levels of government, and also to strengthen collaboration between the government and development partners for long-term partnerships. The third one, performance management and delivery pillar. And it aims to implement the President's development agenda by ensuring that priority projects and reforms are clearly defined, well-planned, and efficiently executed, and also to enhance ethical conduct and discipline, performance, transparency, and accountability in the public service. What are we doing in the administrative reform pillar? The government of the Gambia recognizes that sustainable socio-economic development of a country is premised largely on an effective and efficient public service. That is why our ministry is spearheading public sector reform programs, key among which are service process simplification, digitization of core government functions and public services, pay and pension reform, capacity development, improvement in recruitment and retention, among others. These reforms are designed to mitigate patronage hiring, reduce staff turnover, eliminate corruption, improve service delivery levels, and citizen satisfaction. The ministry, though young, has registered significant achievements, which, among others, include the following. As part of the Civil Service Reform Program, the proliferation of public sector entities with overlap of roles and functions is identified as one of the major challenges of the public service. This steady increase in public service institutions is driven by the pursuit of more effective governance through decentralization and development management. However, the proliferation of public sector organizations such as ministries, state enterprises, state agencies, and diplomatic missions has given rise to the paradoxical performance of the public service, as it created room for their deviation in mandates between policy formulation and implementation. In this regard, the ministry conducted a horizontal functional review to take stock of mandates and functions across government to determine overlaps, duplications, and coordination deficiencies. The outcome of this review will lead to merging of certain entities, removing the duplication of certain functions between these entities to optimize government operations. Recognizing that the public service is the key apparatus for the execution of the functions of the state, and therefore requires professionals in all disciplines, the Ministry has conducted a skills gap assessment of core government functions to ascertain the skills gaps within government and has initiated the development of appropriate capacity development strategy. To further strengthen the capacity of the civil service, the Ministry registered significant achievement in human resource development. In this regard, we have facilitated the appointment of 10,037 Gambians in the civil service. Also, from 2022, through the Scholarship Advisory Committee, 134 long-term scholarships have been awarded to civil servants to pursue various causes of critical knowledge and skills gap within the sectors of government. During the same period, 3,414 civil servants received short-term training in various fields. As part of efforts to rationalize and standardize pay in the public service, comparative pay analysis has been conducted across the public service and pay scale options developed. In 2023, a 30% salary increment was approved, and this year, an aggregate, and I emphasize the word aggregate, salary has been increased by 30%. Transport and residential allowances has been increased by 100% and 105% respectively. This is to curb attrition rate in the civil service as a result of gross disparity of salaries and allowances between the mainstream civil servants and the subvented agencies and independent institutions. When one of the PSs come to talk to you, he will give you the details of the impact of these increases to give you an indication of by how much different people in the different grades have their salaries increased. This attrition poses serious challenges to develop and sustain the needed capacities for ministries and departments, as we have witnessed in the last 2 years the loss of over 200 civil servants to the parastatals and the private sector. It is hoped that, together with the civil service training program, this salary increase will help to attract, retain, and motivate optimal numbers of technical and professional personnel in the civil service. I want to seize this opportunity to inform those staff in grant-aided institutions like schools and health facilities that their nominal rules are currently being reviewed, and as soon as that is done, their salary increments will be effected. And we hope that this will happen in February, together with what they would have received in March. So in January. As part of strategies to attract and retain qualified personnel in the civil service, the government has also put in place a civil service revolving loan scheme. The loan scheme is in 3 categories: personnel, car, and building. From its inception in 2011, 1,777 staff have benefited from it through a total disbursement of $275,321,405. Another reform area which the ministry worked on in partnership with the Public Service Commission is in the area of recruitment and promotions. Prior to the introduction of the current online recruitment system, the process was time-consuming, and the recruitment for a position or several positions of the same cadre could take between 2 to 3 months from start to finish because of the numerous steps involved, which was also all paper-based. With the introduction of the online recruitment system, it can take less than 4 weeks now for vacancies to be filled, and the systems comes with greater efficiency, accountability, and fair play. It has also enabled the applicants from outside the country to submit their applications and get interviewed without having to come to the Public Service Commission room physically. The same efficiency gains have been achieved in the promotion of staff in the civil service. For the big ministries of basic and secondary education and health, the Public Service Commission has delegated the function of promotion, appointment, and discipline of teachers and health workers to committees at the ministries to expedite actions on these functions. With this delegation of authority, both ministries are able to act on these functions in less time than the PSC would have taken with their responsibility for them in other ministries. As part of its reforms to clean up the payroll, the ministry conducted staff audits of key ministries of basic and secondary education, health and agriculture in April 2024, and the second phase of the audit, which covered the remaining ministries as well as pensioners, started in December 2024, and data entry is currently being cleaned up. The objective of the staff audit is, among other things, to control the wage bill and ensure that there is one-to-one correspondence between positions in the payroll and those in the approved manpower budget. Up until 2022, pensions and gratuity issues were being managed under the Pensions Act of 1950. In order to establish a modern pension scheme, which is contributory and comes along with a number of benefits as it is a defined benefit scheme, the ministry coordinated the enactment of the Pensions Act 2022 and took over the administration of pensions. In this regard, all the process of the gratuity calculations are being handled within the Pensions Directorate established at the Personnel Management Office to deal with all matters related to pensions and gratuity. As a result, the average delays in processing of pensions, which used to be in excess of 4 to 6 months, have been reduced to 1 month, except for those cases which may have unresolved issues to address before completing the process of payments. And these issues usually are to do with missing documents in their files. Some of the biggest setbacks in government operations in developing countries when it comes to delivering services are, 1, the time it takes one to receive or access a service, or the cost incurred before getting the service, or the number of visits that people will make before getting the product of any service. In some instances, an individual may even be affected by 2 or 3 of these causes. Services being provided by our government are no exceptions. To address this, the Ministry of Public Service, in collaboration with stakeholders, conducted what we call service process simplification for some services that the majority of Gambians require. The first 5 services that we have simplified are those services that require citizens to acquire an ID card, passport, driver's license, birth certificate, and business registration, with a view to eventually digitizing and digitalizing them. The SPS process is one that reviews and updates the current service delivery procedures and protocols of a government office with the aim of simplifying and making them more user-friendly and efficient. The key benefits of these exercises are, 1, reducing the lengthiness in decision-making, implementing citizen-friendly service methods, fulfilling the multiple demands of citizens, ensuring simplification before digitization, improving the quality of services, attaining citizen satisfaction. In collaboration with the Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy, and with support from the Bangladeshi staff, the ministry has started the digitalization called MyGov portal of these 5 public services that I have mentioned earlier. And these are the ID card, passport, birth certificate, driver's license, and business registration to allow citizens to apply for these services online. We are hoping that when this process is complete, the citizens don't have to go through what they are going through to get these services. Ladies and gentlemen, at the Personnel Management Office, a Management Services and Inspectorate Division has been created and is mandated to review the schemes of services every 4 years to reflect current realities in the different cadres across government. Example of cadres in the public service include the administrative cadre, accounting cadre, procurement cadre, teaching and health cadre. The principal objectives for developing schemes of services for the cadres are: 1, to attract people with appropriate ability and competency; to ensure uniformity of standards, procedures, and quality of work; to prescribe realistic qualification and skill requirements to maintain these professional standards; and to facilitate effective succession planning. The unit has developed up to 40 of these schemes over the years, and for the past 4 years, this MSD has reviewed 19 schemes of service, including that of the teachers. Most importantly, from 2024, all the schemes that have been reviewed are now competency-based, which is an added content in the schemes that will enhance attracting personnel with the required competency. In records management, the National Records Office, which is responsible for managing these government records, is undergoing some serious reforms also. Currently, the most prevalent means of managing official records in this country are paper-based, with all its limitations. And in this day and age of technology, this cannot continue. To start the process of migrating from a paper-based system to an electronic-based one, the National Records Service Directorate launched in 2018 an electronic records management system called ERMS. The purpose of the ERMS is to provide for each ministry, department, or agency, through one access point, a reliable, complete, and secure filing system of decisions, actions, and communications, whether they are born digital or scanned digital images of paper documents. The electronic records management system is a system introduced to enhance the operational effectiveness of the government of the Gambia through the design, development, and implementation of a customized records management that will facilitate increased efficiency in the organization, preservation, retrieval, use, and disposition of the Gambia government records. 5 MDAs were piloted, namely the National Record Service, the Personnel Management Office, the Public Service Commission, the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, and the National Audit Office. It was successfully rolled out to the Accountant General's Department. As we speak, over 1 dozen of MDAs have expressed interest by requesting for the system to be rolled out. In reaction to that interest or request, the NRS team conducted feasibility studies and submitted a report and waiting for response from these institutions to deploy the system. For digitization, in its drive to strengthen institutional capacity of the National Record Service for the management of records from their creation to the point when they are either due for destruction or for permanent preservation, the NRS is leveraging on ICT to enhance easy storage and retrieval of all government documents by digitizing all records. Through support from the Turkish government, the NRS recently furnished the digitalization room and from donation that they got from these Turkish authorities. And it is expected that over 1,591 boxes are the archives. And these are documents that are there since the colonial period. And also about 47,130 files will all be digitized. The implementation of the digitization program is expected to help in creating better storage capacity, enhancing easy accessibility, fast retrieval of files, ensure more efficient data recovery, among others. In recognition of the need to improve on our human resource management practice, the ministry carried out an HRM, that is Human Resource Management Business Process Review and Re-engineering. Re-engineering of government business processes is to simplify regulatory and administrative requirements for the delivery of services. This exercise was therefore conducted with the objective of documenting, reviewing, and re-engineering human resource business process in the civil service to improve efficiency, effectiveness, and delivery. It does avail us the opportunity to establish the current state of the HRM business processes, as well as legislation, policy, and regulations guiding human resource management in the civil service, and to identify bottlenecks, challenges, and internal control weaknesses affecting the efficiency and effectiveness of human resource business processes. On the strategy and policy coordination, as was highlighted earlier, the strategy and policy coordination function of the ministry is aimed at maintaining the highest standards in public policy development and coordination at all levels of government, to strengthen collaboration between the government and development partners for long-term partnerships. Cognizant of the importance of timely and reliable data in any policy-making process, through support from the World Bank, the ministry conducted data inventory in education and the health sectors to determine the data they have at their disposal and how they store and use the data in their policy and decision-making as well as management processes. This is to facilitate the establishment of an administrative data inventory with key base registers, mechanisms for sharing of data with government. Having successfully done that in these sectors, the ministry is working with the consultant that helped us to support this process to be extended in other ministries. In the area of policy coordination, the ministry's policy analysis unit is also developing a national policy formulation framework for the Gambia to ensure policies are formulated based on evidence, well-structured and aligned to the overarching national aspirations. The unit successfully conducted a policy diagnostic study and developed a national policy framework in 2024. The diagnostic study presents a comprehensive assessment of the public policy framework in the Gambia and offers actionable recommendations for developing a national policy formulation framework. The study focused on three key aspects of the policy landscape, and that is the policy development process, trends in policy activities, and comprehensiveness of public policy documents. The assessment of the policy development process reveals several obstacles affecting effective policy making, including the absence of structured policy development processes and oversight mechanisms leading to incomplete, inconsistent, and outdated policies. The diagnostic study informed the development of a draft national policy framework and the necessary accompanying templates. Currently, this framework and the necessary templates are undergoing comprehensive review and consultation prior to validation. The importance of the national policy framework cannot be overemphasized, as it would unify and integrate policy making in the Gambia and also ensures that all required elements for policy making are incorporated in new policies going forward. Honorable Minister, I see you looking at your watch. Remember, we are the Ministry for Government. In the area of policy support, The Policy Analysis Unit also works with sectors to guide policy development across the government. Cross-ministry collaboration and coordination in policy development and execution, and to ensure policy synergy and coherence. The PAU in 2024 has extended policy support to the Office of the Vice President, Early Warning Policy, Land Policy of the Ministry of Local Government and Lands, Internal Security Policy of the Ministry of Interior, and Training Policy for the Personnel Management Office. Additionally, we have also supported the strategic plan development of the Gambian Embassy in the United States of America. The Ministry organizes the Permanent Secretary's Retreat to foster stronger working relationship and enhance coordination among MDAs for the effective implementation of the National Development Plan. The retreats focus on tracking the indicators of the National Development Plan, and some of the key achievements of the retreat includes Cabinet approval for key recommendations emanated from those retreats. And some of these things are, recommendations include a government-wide functional review, which, as I have said earlier, has been conducted, developing a national price index to help GPP in collaboration with GBOS to replace the ineffective procurement system, and also having a 4-year rotational plan for foreign service staff posting to be re-established. The Ministry coordinates the National Economic Council, and this is a forum where stakeholders discuss critical economic issues affecting the country. It provides timely information about the state of the economy and creates a platform for sector coordination and harmonized approach to economic interventions. The institutions represented in the Council include the Central Bank of the Gambia, Ministry of Finance, the Gambia Revenue Authority, the Ministry of Trade, the Ministry of Agriculture, GAIPA, Gambia Public Procurement Authority, and the Ministry of Tourism. His Excellency the President presides over these meetings. The key outcomes of these meetings are numerous, but one key outcome is the facilitation of greater collaboration between key government stakeholders to address some of the challenging issues. Strengthening international cooperation. In pursuance of its functions of strengthening collaboration between the government and the development partners for long-term partnerships, the Ministry's international collaboration led to the establishment of a South-South Cooperation Agreement with Bangladesh, and this collaboration is mainly in the areas of improving public service delivery through a project called Service Process Simplification, which I have said earlier. But the point of emphasis I want to make here is that through this collaboration, we have now started work with the Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy on MyGov project. And again, through that, we have secured $47.5 million from the World Bank to fund a project called the Public Administration and Modernization Project. And in this project, we have stakeholders, including the Gambia Revenue Authority, the Accountant General's Department, the National Audit Office, and the Ministries of Basic and Secondary Education and Health, as well as Finance and Economic Affairs. All these ministries are beneficiaries of this project, including the National Assembly as well. The objective of the project is to enhance domestic resource mobilization and financial reporting, human resource management, and citizen engagement in some of these sectors. Performance management and delivery. To enhance ethical conduct, discipline, and performance transparency and accountability, performance management is vital in ensuring delivery by officers in the public service. In this regard, a performance management policy is drafted with a view to finalizing it by the end of the second quarter this year for implementation as soon as that is done. The Ministry convened delivery forums to provide His Excellency the President and senior officials with updates on the status of government projects, challenges they face, the potential risks associated with their implementation, and the way forward. It's a very useful forum, and it makes the Deputy Chief of Staff now, former PS Loom, very unpopular. because he goes to the sites and take pictures to challenge some of the information that may be provided, which is sometimes out of date. The forum is chaired by His Excellency the President of the Republic, and during these forums, critical decisions are taken to address issues which could potentially lead to delays in project implementation. Such decisions during these forums and the follow-up actions taken have led to the completion of many projects which otherwise would have taken much longer to complete. And that is as part of our delivery function. To monitor attendance and punctuality in the civil service, the Ministry recently procured and deployed 100 biometric attendance machines in offices across the civil service. We are currently working with the Accountant General's Department to link the machines with the payroll. The deployment of the machines will also be followed with unannounced spot checks to monitor attendance. The development of another project called Program for Accelerated Community Development, Phase 2, has been going on, and I'm happy to report that this Program for Accelerated Community Development is helping us to address key issues in communities at a very fast rate, where communities will be provided with electricity, sometimes milling machines, sometimes they will be provided with routes that are leading to some of their facilities. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude this presentation by emphasizing one point. I want to categorically state here that our work and mandate as a ministry in spearheading the reforms in the public service, which I have deliberated upon tonight, can only go as far as our imagination would take them if and when we leverage on the opportunities provided by ICTs. In that regard, and in recognition of this fact, our collaboration with the Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy and its satellite institutions, that is the Gambia Information and Communication Technology Agency, GICTA, as far as these reforms are concerned, is a vital necessity. We have recognized and acknowledged this fact, and therefore our two ministries have started working very closely together by engaging among ourselves as well as Gambians in the ICT industry willing to work with us, and we shall continue to do so until we have a Gambia whose public service is technology-driven within a digital economy, with the entire government services being accessible by citizens digitally. We have no time to waste, and there is a lot of catching up to do. Finally, as I said earlier, the achievements highlighted are the main ones we have been working on, but they are not exhaustive. On that note, I would like to conclude by thanking you all for attending. God bless you. What? I'll say it in Wolof, and then they'll say it in Mandinka. maa ngi nuyu li fi teew yëpp ci turi suñ ministre bi ñu ooyee Ministry of Public Service, Administrative Reform, Policy Coordination and Delivery. Ministry bi ministre bu ees la, ñetti at ci gannaaw ci lañ ko taxawal pour saytu doxalini nguur gi ci yenn anam yoo xam ne dañ bugga pour doomi réew mi jot ci li nguur gi di def ci nim gën a gaawe ak nim gën a selle, parce que dañ seetlu ne am na yu bari yu nguur gi di def doomi réew mi nekkuñ di ko jot niñ ko war a jotee. li ma wax nag ci angale lu bari la, waaye dama ci bugg a wax tuuti rek ci kàllaama olof pour ñi nga xam ne ñoo déglu te dégguñ angale. benn ci li nga xam ne moom la nguur gi def te dama wax loolu parce que ci jamono yuñ toll nii dafa soxal waa réew mi torop mooy mbiri yokka pay parce que ci jamono am na jamono joo xam ne biñ ko tuddee dégg na ñu bari di wax ne pay mi dañ ko wax rek waaye du yokku waaye foog naa burka limba ñi nga xam ne ñu ngi liggéeyal nguur gi daañ demee ci seen banque yi lañ fa fekka gis nañ ñim tool yokku am na te loolu soo gisee ñu def ko dafa am ay problème yu bari yu liggéeykat yi nguur yi daan jànkontuwanteel benn ci loolu mooy li ñoo wax ci angale attrition liggéeykat yu nekk ci nguur gi duñ fa mun a yàgga ngir pay bi xëj na mënuñ liñ faa taaj waaye am na yeneen yëngatu yu nguur gi di def pour taaj leen fa benn ci yooyu mooy salaire bi njokkal ñaareel bi mooy yokka seen njàng ñetteel bi am na civil service loan scheme mooy xaalis boo xam ne dañ leen koo lebal pour ku bugg a jënda moto wala pour ku bugg a jënda kër wala ko xam ne dafa bugg a am soxla yu moo faj yu uteeg ñaari mbir yi ni ci loolu am na ñu bari ñu njëriñoo ci loolu waaye xaalis biñ ci dapaas ba mu commencé ak léegi comme ni ma ko waxee ci anglais passé na 200 millions ak 20 millions ak juróom-ñaar loolu xaalis bu bari la am na ci yeneen yëngatu yi nga xam ne ci bunta bi ministre bi di saytu moom la ministre bi def benn ci yooyu mooy mbiri pensionnat yi pensionnat yi doo leen réeree mbir ne am na ñoo xam ne suñ pensionnat balaa ñoo jot ci li ñoo ooyee gratuité dina jël 2 weer 3 weer yeneen ba juróom-benni weer waaye wecceeku biñ fa def tax na ba léegi su fekkee ne sa case amul benn problème mun ngaa jot sa pension ci diiri benn weer loolu ci wecceeku ci la bokk beneen bi ci mbiri ni nguur gi di dencee kayitam yi boo demee ci place bi ñoo ooyee PMO di nga fa fekk kayit yu bari file yoo xam ne ñu ngi fa jamono ju yàgga léegi liñ commencé mooy jël file yooyu def ko ci anam boo xam ne mun naa nekk ci computer bu ndaw file bu mun a fees néeg bii sax di nga ko mun a def si computer bu ndaw nga xam ne ku leen soxla dina mun a dem si computer boobu mu jot leen yooyu bokk na ci li ñoo yëngatu beneen bi ma bëgg a wax mooy li taxoon ñu taxawal ministre bi mooy pour dimbale yeneen ministre yi wala liggéey yeneen ministre yi pour li nga xam ne ñoom it loolu lañ war a def ñu mutal ko te ministre yi nga xam ne moom la ñu gën a toppa mooy ministre yi nga xam ne ñu ngi amee projets comme yoon yeeg sampa lopitaan yeeg yooyu am na benn lii jotaay bu njee am ci office président 3 weer yu nekk dañ dee am ministre yooyu ñëw wax ñu naka la projets yooyu di demee su ko defee ñu waxtaan seet lan moo nekk seen gàllankoor si booba président dina jël yenn jéego ak joxe yenn ndigal yoo xam ne bu dee mbiri xaalis la wala bu dee mbiri contract bu def liggéey ni mu ko war a defee ñu wax ko foofu li ñu war a def ñu def ko ci loolu tax na projet yoo xam ne bu du toon jotaay boobu projet yooyu duñ mun a jeex xëj na dina doon jël waxtu bu yàgga ci gàttal foog naa fii laay mun a em ci li nga xam ne moom la ñu yëngatu suma permanent secretary xam naa su ñëwee dinañ yaatal yeneen lii laa bëggoon a wax ci gàttal jërëjëf
thank you, Honorable Minister Babukar Boy, for that very comprehensive presentation. I think the presentation now confirms to me that your ministry is a super ministry. Obviously, not only based on your presentation, but based on observation and experience, public administration in the Gambia has undergone significant and dramatic positive changes. And this is thanks to your sweeping and comprehensive reforms. We've seen that your reform agenda includes measures to attract, to recruit, to retain, to motivate, to pay staff within the civil service, but also to hold them accountable. And your mandate touches on every ministry, every department, and every agency, ensuring that efficiency, accountability, transparency, and effectiveness is injected in our government performs. Obviously, 21st century public administration is different from public administration previously because of the challenges of our time and because of the uniqueness of our societies now, but also our economy. So we thank you very much for your presentation. I think what we've heard today is very satisfying and very gratifying. Now, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of senior government officials here today. First, I'll start with from my far left, Chief of Staff and Minister at the Presidency, Mr. Mort Sise is here with us today. Next, sitting next to him is the Minister of Gender, Honorable Fatu Kinte is also here with us today. Then we have the Minister of Environment, Honorable Rohi John Manjang is also here with us today. Head of the Civil Service and the Secretary to Cabinet, Mr. Aliunjai is also here. The Minister of Tourism and Culture, Mr. Abdou Diop, Honorable Abdou Diop is also here with us today. And finally, we also have in our midst the Minister responsible for Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, Honorable Professor Pierre Gomez is also here with us today. Honorable Ministers, we thank you for your support. We thank you for accompanying your colleague Minister, Honorable Babukar Boy, and we equally thank him for his very brilliant and comprehensive presentation, highlighting government's achievements in public sector reform that has been undertaken since His Excellency the President came to power. The President, His Excellency Anambra, has a vision to transform Gambia's public sector, which is the engine of Gambia's development. The country cannot develop without an efficient, effective, accountable, and transparent public sector. And I don't see any better person than Honorable Babukar Boy in spearheading this very, very honorable task. Now, I'd like to not open the floor for question and answer yet. I'd like to give your team, Honorable Minister, if you may permit me, 4 minutes max, because your presentation was into our time. So I'll have to take that time away from your team. So I'll give them 3 or 4 minutes max in the language of your choice. You could do English, Wolof, Mandinka, Manjago, Jola, Sarahule, Fula, whatever language you want. Just tell us your name, your designation, and your function at your ministry. I think later on when questions come, the minister will direct the questions based on the nature of the question to the relevant or the competent person who can answer that question. I'll start with you, Deputy Chief of Staff, and congratulations on your new appointment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, and good evening to our viewers. Good evening, colleagues. My name is Ali Ulum. I'm the Deputy Chief of Staff and Head of the Department of Strategic Policy and Delivery. The mandate of the Department of Strategic Policy and Delivery, as alluded by the Honorable Minister earlier, is the arm of the ministry that is in charge of the oversight function, monitoring government policies, programs, and reforms. The department has 3 main units. One is the Policy Analysis Unit, which is responsible for analyzing government policies and programs, supporting the Cabinet Office in reviewing the government papers, cabinet papers, and also the national policy framework that the Minister has highlighted earlier is developed by the Policy Analysis Unit. So basically they are the one responsible for looking at the overall development of government policies and also the monitoring of the implementation of those policies. Then we have the delivery unit, which is the most unpopular. That is the one that does the monitoring of government projects and programs and reforms. But here, what we monitor is the priority projects of the presidency. We don't monitor all projects across the spectrum of government, but we monitor the selected priority projects and programs. And here is where we have the National Delivery Forum, which is an internal accountability mechanism. The human being is such that we must have something that checks us every now and then. Even for us today, when we are coming here, we have to sit down to look at what we are doing as a ministry, whether we are going the right direction. It was a lot of background work that was done for the minister to be able to come here and deliver, because he is accounting to the public. So we realized that the delivery unit as a function is a critical pillar in driving the implementation of government projects and programs. Aside from that, we don't rely on only the report sent by the sectors. We go out to the project sites unannounced, we visit them, we review, we deal with the development partners, just to make sure that what the public want is service delivery. This service delivery can be done in different ways. So we make sure that the service or the agenda of government is implemented on time. Because it is costly when a project is not implemented on time. Any project that is meant, a project is a defined period. If it is 3 years, if it exceeds 3 years, there will be variation cost. And that variation cost, most likely, government will have to, have opportunity cost. Take something somewhere that could have been used to support our other sectors to complete those projects. So that's why the delivery forum is one internal accountability measure that we work seriously on, and it's one thing that we use to drive the implementation of major government projects and programs. The last unit is the coordination unit. The coordination units support the government in coordinating our development partners, especially the UN system. The UN system report directly to the Office of the Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service. So as the technical arm under them, we are the one that look at the programs of the UN. How do they align to our national development plan? Because the UN in itself does not implement programs. They align themselves to our national programs. And therefore, it is always important for us to check and balance with them. We organize the annual planning retreats. We work with them in implementing, reviewing their programs and projects within the government. So the coordination units also support the overall coordination of what we do as a ministry. The permanent secretaries retreat was mentioned earlier by the minister, which is an order coordination mechanism where we bring together all the permanent secretaries. And for the first time, what we do with the PSS retreat, then it used to be just a shopping list. You just come and present whatever you feel like. That's what we are doing. But now it is no longer business as usual. When you come, every ministry has pillars within the National Development Plan. And you have submitted your program-based budget to the Ministry of Finance. So we ask you to report on those things and see where are you as a sector. How far have you gone in implementing those programs? Because that is our blueprint. So we coordinate those sectors and so on. And we also support the cabinet in terms of this cabinet retreat and many others. Just because I don't have enough time, I know the minister, I don't have time, minister, unfortunately, but I will want to have one minute just to summarize. 1 minute just to summarize, maybe in fuller. Assalamu alaikum onon musidɓe fulɓe jentintomin ɗo he Mansa Kunda. Mansa Kunda noon ko ɗum programme mo gandantuma Ministry of Information, Ministry of Communication and Media, kamɓe deɓe mbaɗi ɗum organise. Ko waddi ko ha ɓe mbaɗi o programme woni pour no minen liggotoɓe laamu no min nantodirta he onon ɓe min liggantoɓe, onon woni yimɓe leydi Gambia. Min noon mbiɗo wiye Aliou Loum, min jogui liggorde laamu witende Department of Strategic Policy and Delivery. e nder nde mon département biɗo hen jogii place uji tedɗi ganantuma place fof mo dañi ko ganantuma ono liggoto place gottomo mon jogii kulle no laamu ngu miijorto liggeyaji men ɗi ko hono ɗi mbaɗirte ko hokko yimɓe poti wat ha yimɓe ɓe jawtina leydi ndi to ndi foti toya goɗɗo mo mon jogii hono min gaynirta liggotoɓe ha ndaara goɗɗo fof ɗe gorɗe ɗe jiiɗon ɗe liggey walla skulaji ɗi walla lopitaneji ɗi time mo ɗi poti ɗe liggey e waktu majum e kaalis poɗɗomo hen waɗe on waɗa hen e ko ɗum ko foti ko waɗe on waɗa hen on woni département goɗɗo o on jogii kulle no min kawtodirta liggotoɓe ganantuma ɓen goni UN no ɓe liggorto he laamu ngu liggey ma e mo hono e ballidirta liggey laamu ngu ha ɗum yaa yesso ɗi goni département aji tati gonɗi ɗi ganantuma min ɗi woni ɗi liggottomi kono noon time ala sinno waktu ɗum dañno goɗɗo fof mi yahanno hen ko jomum watta ko mi haalnamon ɗum kono noon gannaaw dañal lamdotoɓe lamdaji lamdama e amin mbawi tontade he haalpora on jarama assalamu aleykum.
Thank you very much. I want to, I think the Honorable Minister of Public Service has outlined most of the functions or reform initiatives the Personnel Management Office under the Ministry of Public Service has been engaged in doing, working with the rest of the ministry. My name is Lamin Jawara, Permanent Secretary, Personnel Management Office. Yeah, so I will just say something briefly in English and then turn to Mandinka so that for the Mandinka listeners also to benefit from this forum. The Honorable Minister highlighted a number of reform initiatives, including pay. Today, most of the civil servants will acknowledge that since the advent of this government, pay has always been given attention, and since 2017, civil servants have been receiving pay rises until, and a very major one has recently taken place, and in some cases, some allowances have been increased 100%, and giving civil servants at least reasonable, attractive pay package, you know. And the minister highlighted the fact that this in response to the high rate of attrition the civil service has been experiencing. We are losing our trained personnel to parastatals, to NGOs and private sector as a result of the low remuneration. But government is very committed to addressing this remuneration imbalance in the system, and we are happy to say that the recent salary increase has given civil servants a very good package. You talk about pension reform. The 1950 Pension Act was repealed, and a new Pension Act came into force in 2022, and which has centralized the administration of pension under Personnel Management Office. Now he has talked about the efficiency that has been registered. We are able to process retirement benefit within 30 days, you know, as compared to what used to happen when civil servants, retirees will wait for 6 months before their pensions are received. So all these are reform initiatives that have taken place, and we are pursuing digitization to digitize our paper-based records, you know, into digitized forms, so that storage and retrieval will be much easier in terms of space and security of our documents. Also, electronic records management is also going on, and you talk about also the electronic attendance register, which is currently we are trying to link to the payroll, and a lot of all those reforms are going on. So Lieutenant Fola Mbading Maninkala Moyala, what am I Ministry Public Service, the Ministry of Public Service, the Minister Walemu Bab, Mr. Honorable Bab Karboiti, and I kuma jamara for Jamia Lonko, Purka summarize, I will call you Bari, Menkumata, Bed Walaminico, Ministry Banco President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, I Dankroke Kirilo Kajoko, pour civil service or public service asulata attention o men na pour a soto jarta pour que minister Bunda londa fay so minister Bunda 2022 president o londi kaje ko public service because service delivery wala mu banko dingul la sulo pour Mansa Kunda do kulal ka service o mendi o kuma batale kaje ko pour banko dingul la sulo le toboto. He mentioned about, for example, ID card, passport, and number of other things. Banko diul ka sula men na bari ikaje ko ni service olu sotol ka tra koleari mol bulu mol ka bataku jama soro pour ka nyul soto woto ni ministry Bunda lo to kaje ko o service olu we sotol o service olu se mol pour ko access nyame be o soto la nyame sonia so wo kamala do ko jama be kering biri Mansa Kunda dokula la jola koto o jola ko kuma da kaje ko Mansa Kunda dokula lu men ngetreni Mansa Kunda be foke la jama because kata Bunda dole to men yala ko wala ke jodi da men tambita Mansa Kunda la jola wala na Mansa Kunda biri 2017 ya kata ka jo improve wati 2017 e jola fa 2019 e jola fa 2022 e jola fa 2024 also 2025 also Mansa Kunda dokula la jola fa so pour kaje ko cost of living kaje ko mo la sulo balwo ko be la fa ka nyama fana joli fana la fa o nyama pour Mansa Kunda dokula la se sino ye doko keno e kana habe kata Bunda dol to men ala ko wala doko Bunda dol to comme parastato men ala wala la josia so Mansa Kunda e kata jamal ko mo la Mansa Kunda dokula la jo ko ako fana pensiono 1950 act ni Mansa Kunda katala ko act ni ka 5 ans doku ka act to samana mi ala ko mol meritata ye benefit jamal samana o act ko mi ala ko e ba soto lo act ko o pension act ko mi ala ko e ko soto no so ni act ko to nata kaje ko mol meritata e do ko Mansa Kunda ritata e la retirement package wala mi retirement jo ele kam jo me soto pensiono ase betiano nyame ani benefit jama mi alon ko ni acto ma samana salfe ni mo pension retire part na fata adimul sa continuer ka pension receive sanjulu o be go ni pension kuto kono Bunda go pension loi kuto kono so yo be samana pour kaje ko ka mo la polu Mansa Kunda do kula la ko topoto adu foko pare comme a photo franco mbe ku jamal la ke ka men ala ko digitalisation to ba ko be digital wala mun ko kayto men ala ko ka file file men ke doku e ka jo kayto na meta e ka problem jama so ko me ko koto kayto ko ka fara como storage fana ke duala men to am ka kundulal space man space mu problem won bar sa ni sa jama computer na da ka jo ko kayto ke digital wala ke yalla mandi computer do kay ma bo computer kon waatre te tinyala se meje sanji jama te tinyala adu space for the space jama tano la wala digitalisation di adu ko paro kay do fana ni sulera wado computer la stilola asoni ada bag pour ko kay do ke access no so do ko fana be keri so woto ñun be mo Bunda le me mas public ministry of public service bol be ke ka pour ka jego ka service wol betiani nyam apara
Okay. Good evening. My name is Pate Ja, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Public Service. Basically, I am responsible for the organization, management, and the day-to-day administration of the ministry, and as well as coordinating the 3 arms of the ministry. If you look at the ministry, we have the DSPD, we have the Personnel Management Office, and the National Records Services. So I'm responsible for coordinating these 3 arms. So basically, as part of the statement of the ministry, I think a number of issues have been highlighted pertaining to the function of the ministry in terms of ensuring that we are able to attract and retain a qualified, professional or competent civil service that would be responsive to the needs of the citizens. And one of the issues that the Honorable Minister highlighted as part of our strategies to attract and retain is the pay. And he was able to emphasize one issue, that the salary increment is 30% on the aggregate, that is aggregate. So I want to just buttress on this and provide, let's say, a detailed breakdown of the percentage increment of the salary across all the 12 grades. So let's say for grade 1, the average salary increment is 75%, grade 1. For grade 2, the average salary increment is 67%. For grade 3, the average salary increment is 59%. Grade 4, 49%. Grade 5, 39%. Grade 6, 32%. Grade 7, 29%. Grade 8, 25% salary increment. Grade 9, 23%. Grade 10, 21%. Grade 11, equally 21%. Then grade 12, 7%. And the minister, 0%. Yes. So basically, you will observe that the salary increment, yeah, that's the basic salary. This is just the basic salary. And if you were to look at the gross salary increment, some will even receive more than 100% salary increment, because the transport allowance is increased by 100% and the residential allowance is increased by 105%. So basically, you will also observe that the lower grades, they receive a higher salary increment. This is because we want to also to be seen to be alleviating poverty, to make sure that as a government, the lower grade earners, they are paid well so that they would be able to have a decent living.
Thank you.
So I will just stop here.
We'll come back to it because this will be the topic of discussion today, salaries. So we go to...
How much time do I have, Doctor?
You have only 2 minutes.
2 minutes?
Yes, please.
Okay. By the way, my name is Sharif Jallo. I am the permanent secretary responsible for reforms. In the Honorable Minister's presentation, he did mention the Civil Service Reform Program, which is a 10-year reform program that was approved by this government in 2018. Basically, my job is to ensure all the 6 strategic objectives of the reform program, as approved by the government, are achieved in 2027. So all that we've been talking about, everything that the minister has presented, falls within these 6 strategic objectives. Okay. I don't know whether I have time.
Can you quickly name all these 6 quickly, and then we can...
Exactly. So the first one is to ensure we achieve optimality in the numbers of civil servants, meaning we do not have more, but also we do not have less.
So focus on quality.
Exactly.
Number 2?
Number 2 is to ensure that we attract and retain and motivate the people that we have in the civil service. Number 3 is to ensure that discipline and ethical conduct is of the highest level in the civil service. Number 4 is to ensure we institutionalize meritocracy. Everything that is happening around performance management falls under that strategic objective. Strategic objective 5 is to ensure we leverage on ICT. So all the digitalization of the services and the simplification that happens before the digitalization that the minister discussed in his presentation falls under that strategic objective. And the 6th one and the last one, the 6th and the last, is to ensure the capacity development that we undertake is really value for money. The investments that we do in capacity building yield the returns that we expect. So everything that we are doing everything that the government is doing is anchored in these 6 strategic objectives. So it's really the first time that the government was able to come up with such a brilliant reform program, because previously reforms were just ad hoc interventions, ad hoc intervention there, but for the first time we have this structured reform program. That is why everything now is properly coordinated, and that is why the minister is able to give you this brilliant presentation.
Thank you very much. I have a few questions, but I'll reserve them until when the time is right, because I think we have almost half an hour now to go. When you deal with a super ministry like this, time is always an issue. Now we'll move back to the audience to ask questions. If the mic is available, we can pass it around. We'll take 3 questions at a time. I'll take one from this end. I think we'll take 2, Honorable Minister, 2 at a time. Is that or 3? 2 is fine. 1 here, 1 there, and then we'll switch back and forth. We'll start with, let's start with the first row. We'll start with Juf. The Yusuf will come to you after, then we'll move on the other side. Now please ask the questions in the language of your choice, and your question will be answered in that language, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. maa ngi tudda Modou Lamine Diouf, maa ngi liggéeyal Hilltop FM radio. Honorable Boy, ñu ngi la jaajëfal bu baax a baax ci li nga xamante ne leeral nga ko tey fii. Ma amoon rek fiw laaj ndax benn laa mën a laaj.
Benn.
Okay. All right. So benn dina difficult trop waaye quickly. Li ma.
Mën naa la may ñaar.
ñaar ok. jërëjëf honorable minister. So ci njëlbeen li ma bëggoon a laajte mooy am na ci bi nga leeral yi nga xamante ne da nga ko junja te comme ça ñun dañoo jottali wax dañoo bëgg pour léegi ñu joxoñ ko mu leer mooy wax nga ne da ngeen daan am every 3 months yéen a gathering ak the president sa ministry bi te su du toon ndaje yooyu noonu yéen si project si réew mi dinañ doon fail specifically yan project la yooyu nga junja foofu noonu bëgg naa pour ñu leeral ko ñaareel bi mooy si mbiri reform si baax na trop yokkatam payoor yi ñuy liggéeyal nguur baax na trop waaye taxpayers si suñu yokkee ñi nga xamante ne ñooy liggéeyal nguur ndax ñoom it service bi ñoo joxaat public bi correspond na méngoo na ak yokkute boobu noonu ba sabab nga junjoon mbiri electronic attendance registration laaj bi moo jeexangut laaj bi rek laay dugal mu jeex benn laa ko jox ok electronic attendance registration bi lim mun a fësal mooy ne nit ki ñëw na waxtu bi ñibbi na waxtu bi waaye jikko bi moo jikkowoo si biir place liggéeykaay bi ci diir boobu mënut koo adresse mooy waa ji su ñëwee nekk si TikTok ba warul ba service yi ñu war a joxut ñu ko yan stratégie yan pexe ngeen am pour gis ne diir bi mu nekk foofu noonu tam sàmm nañ ko ba li mu war a def defal nañu ko jërëjëf bu baax a baax
jërëjëf on that side do we have anyone on that side nobody okay come back to Flex please.
Good evening. Yusuf Taylor for
2 questions also.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Yusuf Taylor for Askanwe Media. Thank you for organizing this every 2 weeks, and thank you very much for your presentation, sir. My first question is on the issue of ghost workers. Last year, after an audit was conducted, it was reported that some 2,100 ghost workers were working in ministries of basic and secondary education, health and agriculture. These are just 3 ministries. Can you kindly inform the public on how many ghost workers are currently in the entire government and what you have done about this wastage of public funds? Most importantly, this is my second question, when will the public service payroll be completely digitized to eliminate this wastage of public funds, sir?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Harama commencé ci laaji sëñ bi mbiri project si mun naa la wax ne yéena ci ñoom yoon lañ waaye duma la wax yoon bi fu mu nekk non xam nga yow fi nga dëkka man fi laa dëkka li am solo mooy am na yoon yoo xam ne bu nekkutoon forum bi mun naa am waroon a jël ñaari at dina jël ñetti at waaye demal ci yoon yi fi mu nekk nii gis nga di nga gis liggéey bi dem on mënuma fee toog nag di la yoon bi ci la bokka wala yoon bale ci la bokka boobu moom dama laa ñaan rek nga jégal ma sa ñaareel laajte bi mbiri ñi nga xam ne nañoo dem ci office bi ci waxtu ba pare mun nañoo toog ci office bi ba time bi wàcca ñu wàcca gis nga léegi lu nekk dafa am yoon boo ko jaarale balaa nga mun a wax nit ki lam faa def wala nga gestu lam faa def dafa njëkk a dugal nekk ci place bi machine bi loolu laa def lii seet lan la faa def loolu beneen système la mooy performance management system parce que bu performance management system bi duggee officer bu ci nekk di nga am sa target ci time bi nga ko war a joxe yow su fekkee ne ci biiri weer bi da nga am 6 targets yoo war a nit nga ñëw ci suba clock in génn a dem toppatoo ji sa soxla xaar ba ñeneenti waxtu di tiga si nga dellu si nga ñëw clock out sa targets yooyu su fekkee ne tooguloo si office bi def ko xam nga ne doo ko mun a mit so performance management targets yooyu moom lañ fas yéene jëfandikoo pour mun a jàppa ñi nga xam ne seen liggéey defuñ ko xam naa ne technologie egg na foo xam ne même boo jë soo fekkee yaa ngi toog ci sa computer di liggéey nga jóg am na teg système boo xam ne dina mun a wax ne kii 5 minutes yi nekkutoon si computer amanguñ xaalis bu ñu defal mun a def loolu waaye fa lañ jëm technologie boobu mu ngi fa même nu mu faa liggéey sa computer bi daf ko registré yëpp waaye su fekkee yaa ngi commencé li nga antan fa nga commencé pour mu saafara la soxla bi nga am ci loolu la nekk ah mbiri my friend talked about ghost workers and I realized that you have used the word ghost workers in the entire government to stop the wastage. Okay. What I can tell you, this is a process that we have started, and it's not one that will just finish like that. It has to be dealt with in a continuous manner because people come in and leave. But what I can tell you, after the stoppage of these salaries, some of those whose salaries were stopped surfaced and they were in the wrong place. But they came back with authentic documents. Like we know some people were at the university studying. Some were not at their place of posting when the exercise was conducted. They came with documents and they were verified and removed. As we speak, from the remaining ministries, we have also established that about 2,700 were not seen. You see, the idea of calling them ghosts, if you have not established whether they are there or not, I don't think is, very safe. You can only categorize them as ghosts if indeed they don't exist. But I can tell you this is part of our reform process, And it's not an exercise that we are going to just start and stop immediately. In fact, when we estimated from the initial estimation, we were saving about 13.5 million a month by removing those people in the payroll. But as I said, some of them appeared, and their pay will be, reinstated. So this is what we are on, and as I said earlier, this project called the Public Administration and Modernization Project, we are having support that will help us make sure that the payroll is properly managed, so that as soon as an individual is supposed to be removed, the person will be removed. So that's the part of the reforms we are doing. What is the target for what?
I think let me help you. I think the payroll is linked to the electronic attendance system. Is it?
Yeah, the payroll is linked will be linked to the as soon as the payroll is linked to the electronic attendance register. If an individual fails to turn up for a certain number of days, the machine will lock you out. You will not get paid. I mean, you will not get paid.
So there's no target?
That's existing now, I think.
No, the machine is there, but it has not yet been linked to the payroll.
His question is, when are we linking it?
When are we
linking? When are we doing the linkage between the payroll and the?
Before, well, this is a process that we don't control completely. We are working with the Accountant General's office, and there is a system that we don't own completely as a country. This system was there since 2007. That is what has helped us to even manage our payroll, to be able to prepare, government's accounts for it to be audited. But we are targeting that, everything being equal, by the end of the year, this year, we should be able to get to that.
Okay.
Everything being equal.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next set of questions.
Dr. Jerejef, Honorable Minister, Access Staff, man maa ngi tudd Pa Babou Gueye, diaspora bi laa jógee. Ma 3 days ago nag maa ngi gis ne ATM yi ñu ngi run out of cash, so salary increase bi moo tax. So si gàttal ñu ngi jaajëf si ministry bi si seen liggéey bu baax bi ngeen a def. So docteur soo waxee ne ñi super ministry la dama ne da nga juum, li super duper ministry la te seen liggéey lu am solo la pour war a wecci askan bi ni ñoo liggéeyee ak ni ñoo joxe seen boppa pour réew mi, pour ñu mën a make sure ne lu nekk ñu ngi ko def si jub. maa ngi dellu di bugg a laajte si affaire yi Yusuf Taylor lu mu laajte, so suma laajte bi ñaar la rek, soo may not. So benn bi moo nekk affaire yi ghost workers bi moo wax noonu, affaire yi ghost workers suñ ko waxee rek moo nekk toog muy dox. So affaire yi toog muy dox mi ndax dafa am si nguur gi rek, central government, wala nekk na loo xam ne dañ ko bëgg a yóbbu even ci independent institutions yi ak local government. Foofu tam njuuj jaaj bari na fa trop.
Okay.
Boo first question bi. Second question bi moo nekk ne seen ministry bi liggéeyam lu am solo la, waaye at the same time ndax yéen feel ngeen like ne do you have the optimal number of staff to be able to effect change?
Thank you.
Thank you.
One more. Any other question? Oh, that lady over there.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Aisha Jing. I'm a final year political science major at the University of the Gambia. So my question is with regards to the salary increments. So you've talked about the salary increments for some people going at an average of 30%. And I think to some extent we can all agree that there is a gap in this country with regards to policy making and effective policy implementation. So we're increasing salaries at an average of 30% for public servants. But then again, we look at when these people even receive this, the salary is increasing, but then the prices of goods and services that are supposed to be used for these people is also increasing. So I want to know what your ministry is doing with regards to policy coordination in ensuring that price control is being effectively managed within the market. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Minister. Jala, you want to take the first question?
You see, optimality, it's not a final destination, but what I can assure you, at this point in time, we have what it takes to start getting there. I think that is evident enough in the minister's presentation. If what we have on the ground right now was not good enough to get us started, probably this event would have been over within 30 minutes. But it's as Honorable Minister of Information said, public admin is evolving. Now the skill sets that are also required are evolving. That is why in the minister's presentation, he did mention the issue of the review of the schemes of service that we have in place. Previously, the schemes that we have only talks about longevity, only talks about academic qualifications. But now we are adding the competency bit so that will help us get the right skills, not necessarily people with bachelor's, master's, but people that have the skills that we need to be able to get to the optimality that we need. We have what it takes right now to start the reforms, but optimality, we will get there perhaps in 2, 3, or 4 years' time.
Thank you. The next question.
Oh, thank you very much. I think I just want to touch on the one that has to do with the price control, that we are increasing, let's say, basic salary or salary in general. What measures have you taken to ensure that at the end of the day, the salary that people, those civil servants are receiving will not be, let's say, consumed by inflation? As part of the measures taken, we came up with some mitigating measures and measures to finance the salary increase. And one of the measures that we have adopted is to ensure that, one, we reduce the income tax. That's why I think if you have been listening to the radio, you will realize that before income tax, if you are earning less than 2,400, you don't pay tax. But now it has been increased to 3,600 per month. If you are earning 3,600, you don't pay tax. The other measure that we have taken is to make sure that the tax on basic commodities, we did not touch on those taxes. We make sure that they remain. To make sure that at the end of the day, the salary increase will not be affected by inflation on basic commodities.
Thank you. I think just to add on to that, I think that has worked because data that is coming out is telling us that year-on inflation has gone down from 18% to 10%. It is projected that within the next 2-3 months we will go to 8.7%. And nobody here can tell me that we have seen a scattering. There is no scattering of prices. I think they have stabilized right now. The price of rice is going down to 2,950. I'm seeing in the market. The price of onions, oil, potatoes are all stabilized. So that, in addition to the salary increase, we'll really see an increment in the wallets of citizens. But I just want us to experienced the salary increment? I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to use my privilege as a chief journalist to ask this question. Now, let's assume I was a driver in the civil service and my salary is $3,000. In December 2024, I received $3,000 as a salary. I think driver is grade 1.
Yes.
Grade 1.
Grade 1 and 2.
Grade 1 and 2. Yes. So, and now the salary increment takes effect end of January this year. What will be my salary this January 2025? How much will I receive? If I was 3,000 in grade 1, grade 2, and I received 3,000 in December, how much am I receiving in January in line with the salary increment?
On average, you will receive close to between 6,000 and 7,000. Oh, sorry.
On average, you will receive between 6,000 and 7,000, depending on which of the grade points that you currently sit on.
So that's almost a double.
Yes. For example, let's say if you are on grade 1.1, in December, your basic salary was 1,612. This is just the basic salary.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, your basic salary is 2,870, which is an increment of 78%. So this 2,870 plus the transport of 3,000 plus other allowances, that allowances like heavy duty allowance, special incentive allowance. If you add all that, you will receive minimum $6,000 as somebody who is sitting on grade 1.
So it means that the person who received 3,000 will receive 6,000 at that grade.
So basically it would be an increment of 100% plus.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's good. Yes. I'll come to you. Let me just... There's one question. Yes, sorry. You didn't answer. Yes.
Yeah. Mr. Jay asked a question relating to ghost workers menace, whether we are also going to address it in the independent institutions. Yes, I think the reform that we are, or reform initiative we are pursuing, the idea is the electronic attendance register machines, when they are linked to the payroll, this is going to, because we are a Ministry of Public Service and we are not focused on the civil service alone. We are going to set the standard that all the independent institutions are going to follow. And in this regard, what we are trying to do is that once the machines are linked to the payroll, anybody who fails to clock for 20 days, working days, your salary will be automatically solved by the system. And in trying to do that, in doing that, the person will person will be investigated as to why he was not reporting to work. If it is not based on genuine reason, then his service will be terminated. So we are going to digitize the system, payroll system, in a way that, as somebody earlier asked, that when somebody is not clocking, it will be detected digitally, and it will send alarm for us to stop that, for the system to sort out that person from the system.
Thank you. Yes.
Good evening. My name is Awamani. I work with GRTS. Now, everyone is talking about salary increment. I would like to know if this end of January, all civil servants that receive their salary have their salary been increased. Then I have a follow-up question after that question is answered.
Okay, thank you. Yes, we'll come to you. This way, please. Ask the question. Ask the follow-up question.
Okay. If no, what is causing the delay? And if we will be given a date that all of them will receive their salary increased, and also if there will be a back date. For instance, if you're going to have their salary in February, will it be backdated to January?
All right, thank you. Yes, this side, please. You have a question? No. You don't have a question. At the back. Huh? I think I'll come to you after.
Okay, jërëjëf maa ngi tudd Amath Kébé Paradise di jaajëfal jëwriñ gi ci li nga xam ne moom la jot a gaaral fi mu doon loo xam ne lu am solo la laaj bi daanaka su ma naataango laaj na ko mu Lamine Diouf mooy ñi nga xam ne ñoom la ñoo fay ndax liggéey bi nga xam ne ñu ngi koy def méngoon ak liñ leen fay ñi nga xam ne ñoom la ñoo jox service bi su fekkee ne dem neen ci ñoom maanaam service bi yéex na pour ñu jot si maanaam nga dem ci bërëb liggéeykaay mu ne la xaaral maa ngi ndékki toog moo doon 1 hour 2 hours wala nga dem mu nekk ci yeneen soxla ki mu war a jox service ban àq lam am ak it ndax dina mën a report fenn ne kat diw dem naa place sangam waaye lépp ma waroon a jox am na tardement bu ci nekk ban jéego ngeen ñu def pour ngeen make sure ñi ñu jox service bi danañ jot service bi ci waxtu wi ñu ko war a jot.
jërëjëf.
waaw laajte bi am na solo trop boo bàyyi sa xel ci liñ doon wax service boo xam ne danga am pour dem fekki nit ki ci office am nga mun cee jot bugguñoo continuer ci yoon boobu am na service yoo xam ne du jar nga dem ci office yi kenn di nga mun a apply nga jot sa ci service boobu ci anam boo xam ne danga fay jot ci te du jar nga dem ci office yi ko borom loolu la ñun jéego yooyu lañ commencé di jël bugguñoo continuer parce que nit ki bu nekkee ci office am di amee jikko bu mel noonu comme li ma la wax ni nga ko mën a jàppee rek mooy am machine boo xam ne daf koo toppa fu moo dem mu xam ci li mu nekk waaye soo gisee ñuy wax ne dañ bugg a isi jéego yoo xam ne nit ki dina mun a jot ci service bi ci nu mu gën a gaawee te du jar mu dem ci office bi pour fànqalu mel nii la am na dëkk yu bari yoo xam ne boo buggee passeport da ngaa dem online nga apply ñu laaj la liñ laa laaj nga submit ko ñu tontu la ne bés sàngam di nga jot sa passeport gannaaw boo fay te fay bi sax ci da nga fay online am na dëkk bu ma dem boo xam ne pour nga am licence pour nappa da ngaa dem ba ci bij bi nga jël sa mobile apply pour licence bi nga fay within 5 minutes nga jot sa licence nga jël sa mbaal dem ci géej gi ndax Gambia mënuñoo toolu foofu waxi dem ci office di fekka nit kuy néewoo xam naa ne bu fekkee ne loolu rek lañ paree toppa dinañ am pour jël yar toppa ku nekk te technologie bi mu ngi jublu foo xam ne du jar nga egga foofu fi ñu toll nii loolu lii lañ bugg a jox priority moo tax ñuy def service process simplification bi ca la ñu liit nga xam ne nit ki mun naa am ID card am ak naka la tuddaati passeport am ak te du jar mu dem ci office mbiri ñi ñoo jël liggéey am na jamono joo xam ne soo waxee nit ne ko yaa ngi America di nga mun a apply liggéey Gambia ñu jël la dafa ne waxuloo dëgg PSC fi mu nekk ni dañoo advertise nga nekk America wala nga nekk Angleterre nga apply time interview bi jot PSC toog fi ñu toog interview la score la su fekkee ne yow yaa am liggéey bi ñu bindal la ne yow yaa am liggéey bi foofu lañ bugg a jublu ñun suñu effort yi foofu lañ ko bugg a def pour mbiri dem di fekka nit muy néew am na sax mun naa ñoo toolu foo xam ne ña ngaa dem di fekka ñu néew doo leen soxla sax pour jël bi nga reduce number bi nga xam ne mooy def liggéey boobu parce que du jar nga am ñu ñëpp si office bi.
Okay. Second question about the delay in payment of salaries, the salary increment.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that's one is from our money, GRTS, whether all salaries or all civil servants receive their salaries in the month of January. So, you know, in the civil service, there are different categories of civil servants. There are some whose salaries are paid by the Accountant General's Department. All of them, they receive their salaries. But there are others, they are referred to as subvented institutions. Those subvented institutions, some of them did not, or they did not receive this salary increment, but they will receive their salary increment in due course. I think if you listen to the Honorable Minister carefully, he said that we are currently reviewing the nominal role of those institutions. And once we finalize the review, because subvented institutions, these are institutions that are semi-autonomous, but they receive their funding from government. And the funding that they receive from government is in two parts. That is the PE, that is personal emolument, and also other charges. So for government to disburse the PE, we need to establish the number in their nominal rule. And we are currently working on that, and once we finalize that, and this is going to be done before February, and they would receive their salary for the January and equally the salary for February.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think I know why she asked that question. Ñun bokkuñ ci JRTS bokkuñ ci salary increment. am na da nga gis ne affaire si yokkuwul si account bi moo tax nga laajte ñun bokkuñ ci. Okay, I think before I take the last round of questions quickly, because they're telling me we have only 5 minutes, dama bëgg a ñëw si laajte bu Kebe laajte rek. Jéego yi nga xam ne ñu ngi ko jël àggaanguñ ci balañ see àgga léegi su ma demee office ki ma war a jox service mu ngi nasaxal liggéey bi mu ngi ndiwoo wala di ma jaalu nga xam ne waru koo def lan laay def ci saa soosu noonu foog na loolu nga laajte ndax mun naa woote fii na ne ñëw naa fii palaas sangam waaye ki ma war a jox service mu ngi def lii ak lii pour nga mën a jël disciplinary ndax loolu mun naa am léegi.
nim gën a mun a amee ci mu gën a gaaw ku ci nekk am nga naka sa supervisor sa boss foog naa lii bokk na ci li nga xam ne ci time yi permanent secretaries retreat bi dinañ ko mun a waxtaane pour ñu am foo xam ne dinañ mun a report case yu mel noonu parce que coow li ci mbiri dem naa fekkal borom di ndéew mu ngi bugga bari ba pare ombudsman tam organisé mbootaay la boo xam ne public bi mun nañoo dem report case yu mel noonu waaye nag xam naa ne pour ñu gestu ko ba mun a jàpp borom du yombam xanaa nga nataal ko wala waa lu ma wax
ok jërëjëf
foog nga nataal ko waaye li nga xam ne moo gën a mun a jàppandi daal mooy ki nga xam ne mooy jiite place boobu dinañ ci waxtaan même su fekkee dañoo am suggestion box si ministre bu nekk dinañ permanent secretary seen boss a ngi nii toog mu ngi dégg li nga wax su permanent secretary retreat amee dinañ waxtaanee loolu ñu seet ban jéego lañ cee mun a jël fi ba balaa ñoo mun a eega fi ñu bugg a eega waaye loolu nag jikko la boo xam ne ñu ngi koo ñaawlu waruta am parce que yéen lañ fa nekkal.
jërëjëf honorable minister léegi last final question.
dama si bëggoon a yokk.
waaw quickly waaw na gaaw.
comme service process simplification bu ministre bi doon wax soo gisee léegi doo mun a téye nit bi ko service standard nekku fa soo demee si place war ngaa mun a xam man lii moo ma fa yóbbu te lii war naa koo am si within 1 hour 2 hours 1 day 2 days waaye façon framework yooyu noonu nekku fi waaye service process buñ start nii service buñ simple waaye suñ paree dafa am service charter te service charter boobu noonu dinañ ko publish pour citizen bi ku nekk soo demee place sangam pour soxla fa dara di nga xam ne lii waxtu bii la maa jël pour ma am ko su waxtu bi passé jotuloo ko den di service charter boobu tamit dina la wax naka ngaa def ba sa buñ na sa request boobu nuñ ko nasaxalee foo ko war a yóbbu dina fa yóbbu di noo war a def ba mu àgga foofu noonu dinañ la ko wax te su ko fa àggee jéego yi ñu war a jël dinañ ko jël
baax na waaw final leer na final question yow quickly
Assalamu alaikum. My name's Lamin Juara. I'm a citizen of the Gambia. Anyways, my question to you or the ministry is, when I look at the discussions around, focuses a lot on the issue of attrition and salary being one of the factors that would minimize that. But however, there are other significant issues that are in place, much especially if you look into issues relative to promotions and as well as treatment of civil servants under certain ministries. So what strategies do you have from your ministries to look at issues of promotion and how they are coordinated across the board, and as well as the question of treatment while in the service? That's my first question.
No, only one question, because we are really running out of time. Thank you very much.
No, I want to find out what you mean by treatment.
Treatment as in the policies and directions, because there is a lot of discretions in most of the ministries and government services, where there are no policies and the treatment of that service depend on a particular individual to coin it. Like for example, if I am working in a particular ministry and there is no promotion policy, my treatment for promotion is discretionary and relative to the decision of an individual. So that is what I mean by treatment.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think if you look at the issue of promotion you are talking about, now civil service, we talk about meritocracy. The general order says promotion should be based on merit. But for a longest period of time, we have not been, we have been basing promotion mainly on seniority. Because the Public Service Commission says, yes, if you can conduct a performance appraisal, that will be documented to say that X is better than Y, then they will promote based on merit. But where that's not possible, seniority is the only criteria for our promotions. Yes, performance appraisal is going on by some of our sectors. But what we are, the reform initiative that we are embarking on now, we want to make performance management system a must for all government, ministries and departments to do, so that at the end of the day, your promotion will be based on your performance. So when we are able to ensure that that happens, then it will cease to be. But the issue of discretion is most reduced. I will not say we are using discretion to promote everybody, because to a large extent, Public Service Commission has put their foot down to say that any cadre, all the cadres in the civil service, administrative, public health, nursing, medical, economists, they have to provide a seniority list that the commission is guided by. So if you send in a recommended promotion, they will make sure that you see the most senior person. So if you're not the most senior person, he will not be promoted. They will send it back to us.
Thank you.
The issue of promotion is very, very critical in the civil service, because you have to understand that not everybody can be promoted. The GO says promotion is subject to existence of vacancy. Now, if there is no vacancy, suppose he's a director, I'm the assistant director. He is not retired in the next 10 years. I'll remain assistant director for the next 10 years. I can't be promoted director until he leaves. Right. So there is that kind of stagnation that is bound to happen. So the GO has provided an increment for those who will not be promoted for that long. What we call longevity increment. You get 10% of your basic salary.
Thank you.
As an increment.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. You and your team, you've done a fantastic job. The presentation was outstanding. I think the public has learned a lot. We thank you for gracing our occasion. As usual, like we normally say, the Ministry of Information is engaging in proactive disclosure. We don't want people to come and ask for information. We give you information. This is our mandate, to ensure you have access to authentic, relevant, but also what we call authentic information. So thank you very much for coming. Until next week, in 2 weeks' time, I hope I'll get the Minister of Tourism in 2 weeks' time to tell us about his sector. Jërëjëf mbokk yi di leen jaajëf bu baax a baax Mansa Kunda bi jeex na pour tey xam naa in 2 weeks' time dañ dajewaat am Minister of Tourism moom tam mu ñëw waxtaan ak askan bi. Mbadi ngol mbatintula mbajela watu bantale sañ bi Mansa Kunda bantale nga tentu nga jey nga minister ba nga tentu nga jey anala timo mume dina lisol anim bani gamel ko bi natam kana may Mansa Kunda bi kacha diata akumata bake mbatintula mbajela me mobe kontona na moyla nen jubela nan ko be sokono wodo ngalon fo wati ko tek Mansa Kunda ministerial town hall ala baraka jërëjëf.